So if you're building a smart device, you have to make a really critical choice pretty early on. What's going to be the brain of the operation? Today, we're going to break down the two biggest names in the open source world for real-time operating systems, FreeRTOS and Zephyr. Let's get right into it. You know, from that fitness tracker on your wrist to the sensors running a massive factory, there are countless tiny, specialized computers that form this invisible backbone of our world. Seriously, they are everywhere, just quietly making everything smarter and way more connected. So the question is, what's the software that lets these little devices juggle a ton of different tasks all at once, totally reliably? You know, like listening for sensor data while also talking over Bluetooth, all without ever missing a beat. Well, that's where a real-time operating system, or RTOS, comes in. You can think of it like the conductor of an orchestra, or really the brain inside the device. Its number one job is to manage all the tasks and absolutely guarantee that the most important stuff happens exactly when it's supposed to. Okay, now here's where it gets really interesting. FreeRTOS and Zephyr, they aren't just two different products that do the same thing. Nope. They actually represent two completely different philosophies for how you should build these systems. One is like a library you build on top of, and the other is a whole platform you build within. And this is the perfect way to think about it. Choosing FreeRTOS is like buying a super high-performance engine. It's incredibly powerful, it's lean, and it gives you total freedom to build the rest of the car however you want around it. On the flip side, choosing Zephyr is like getting a complete car chassis. The engine, the suspension, all the electronics are already integrated. You just start building on top of that solid foundation. Let's take a closer look at FreeRTOS first. Its entire philosophy is minimalism. Right at its core is a really simple, super efficient scheduler. Everything else, we're talking drivers, networking, security, that's on you to add. This gives you amazing control and a tiny memory footprint, which is perfect for devices with very limited resources. It's a battle-tested approach that's been around since 2003, and it's now got the backing of AWS. Zephyr, on the other hand, is the all-in-one system. It was launched by the Linux Foundation back in 2016 with a totally different goal in mind, to give developers a complete, scalable OS with drivers, networking stocks, and security features all baked right in. Its standardized structure also makes it way easier to move your application from one piece of hardware to another. So how do these two different ways of thinking actually play out in a real project? Let's get practical. It's time to compare them head-to-head on features and, of course, performance. A case study from Boston Engineering highlights this perfectly. When it came to the basics, yeah, both were great, but the final decision came down to some really specific features. The project needed a CAN-open stack, which is a communication protocol for industrial automation, and a ton of connectivity options. Well, Zephyr had all of that stuff built in, which saved the team from the huge, complex job of integrating third-party code, which is exactly what they would have had to do with FreeRTOS. Okay, features are one thing, I get it. But for a real-time system, speed is absolutely critical. So which one is actually faster at its core job? Well, benchmarks show that for the most fundamental operation, just switching between tasks, FreeRTOS is more than twice as fast. I mean, look at that. 223 cycles versus Zephyr's 524. That just shows you the raw power of that minimalist design. There's just less overhead, plain and simple. But, and this is a really big but, it's not that simple. As soon as you look at a more complex operation, like using a mutex to safely manage a shared resource, the story totally flips. In this case, Zephyr is twice as fast. And that's because Zephyr has a highly optimized, dedicated way to do that specific task. So, you see, the faster RTOS really depends on what you're asking it to do. And this brings us back to a super important point, summed up perfectly here by Chris Morgan from Boston Engineering. For a lot of projects, the time you save by using well-integrated, ready-to-go features is way more valuable than shaving off a few clock cycles here and there. Developer efficiency often beats raw speed. Now, this decision isn't just about what you need today. The entire world of embedded systems is changing, and the rules we use to choose an RTOS are changing right along with it, especially when you start thinking about the long term and about safety. Just look at this timeline. A year or two ago, the choice was all about footprint and maturity. But now, the conversation is completely dominated by things like security, functional safety, and industry coding standards like MISRA. And that's because these devices are being put into safety-critical roles in our cars, in our hospitals, in our factories. So what even is functional safety? It's all about designing systems to prevent unreasonable risk from failures. Think about the brakes in your car or a critical medical device. It's an absolute must-have in these industries, and it forces you to take a much, much deeper look at the software you're building on. And this new focus on security, again, it just highlights the two different philosophies. With FreeRTOS, you get security through powerful add-on libraries from AWS, but Zephyr, true to its platform nature, has security frameworks for things like memory protection and secure boot built right into its core architecture. Okay, so with all of that in mind, how do you actually make the choice? Well, it really just comes down to matching the RTOS philosophy to what your project actually needs. The choice really boils down to this. You go with FreeRTOS for those tightly constrained devices, or when you want total control over the architecture, or if you're already deep in the AWS ecosystem. It's a minimalist, high-control approach. You choose Zephyr for complex projects that need to be portable across different kinds of hardware and are built to last for the long haul. It's the integrated, batteries-included platform. And that leaves us with one final thought. As all our devices become more and more complex, more connected, and more safety-critical, which approach do you think will win out and define the future? Will it be the elegant simplicity and total control of a library, or the integrated power and structure of a full platform?